This is Kenichi, a full-time gooner and a part-time hardcore gamer. By hardcore, I mean this ugly loser spent 3 full years finishing a single game. After finally beating it, he leans back like some gaming legend and starts complaining that the game was boring and disappointing. Bro, if it was that boring, why did you play it for 3 years? Just admit it, you're bad at games and move on. What Kenichi really wants isn't fun, he wants pain. He wants a game so cruel that it would ruin his life for at least 10 years. Something that doesn't care about his feelings or his sleep schedule. So without wasting time, he jumps online and starts hunting for his next victim. He scrolls through titles, ratings, reviews, and recommendations, but everything looks weak. Too easy, too normal. Nothing screams, "This will destroy you." Then suddenly his computer starts acting weird. The screen glitches, flickers, and strange symbols pop up like his PC is possessed. Out of nowhere, a message appears offering him a game that never ends, set in a fantasy world filled with magic. Kenichi's eyes light up like he just found buried treasure. A game that never ends. That alone is enough to make his gamer brain short circuit. Without thinking twice, he clicks it like an idiot clicking accept on a suspicious pop-up. The game asks him to choose a difficulty: easy mode, normal mode, hard mode. Boring, same old trash. But as he scrolls down, he notices something hiding at the bottom, a mode called Hell Mode. This is new, this is spicy, this is exactly the kind of suffering he's been begging for. His excitement goes through the roof. Finally, a game that might actually bully him back. Without even hesitating, he selects Hell Mode. Next, he picks the Summoner class, feeling way too confident for someone who took 3 years to finish 1 game. He clicks Start, and that's when things go very wrong. The screen flashes is blindingly bright, and before he can even scream or unplug the PC, Kenichi gets sucked straight into the monitor like a bug into a vacuum cleaner. The next thing he knows, he's crying his lungs out, not because he lost a game, but because he's been reborn. He opens his eyes and realizes he's now a newborn baby, entering the world in a poor frontier family. A man gently lifts him up and gives him a name. From now on, he is called Alan. Strangely, Alan isn't upset at all. In his past life, he was a 35-year-old broke gamer with a dead-end job and 0 future. Compared to that sad existence, this feels like a massive upgrade. Reincarnation gives him a second chance, and this time, he plans to live properly instead of yelling at a screen. Right now, Alan is only 1 year old, so talking is impossible, but his mind works perfectly fine. He can think clearly, understand conversations around him, and carefully observe everything. He quickly realizes that the people here speak Japanese, which seems to be the common language of this world. Alan's family lives in a frontier village where settlers pay taxes to a ruling lord in exchange for land to farm. The place is so new and undeveloped that it doesn't even have a proper name yet. His father, Rodin, is a hardworking and kind man who does everything he can to provide for the family. Based on his appearance, Alan guesses his father is around 20 years old. His mother, Dija, looks even younger, probably still in her late teens. Watching how close and loving his parents are, Alan figures it's only a matter of time before he ends up with little siblings running around. That night, after being put to bed, Alan lies there quietly, lost in thought. Suddenly, something clicks in his mind. He remembers that in this world, he chose the Summoner class. Curious, he tries to open a status screen like in a normal game, but instead of a clean little window appearing, a giant book suddenly pops into existence and floats right above him. Alan lets out a terrified scream. Yeah, seeing a magical floating book as a baby will do that to you. The noise immediately alerts his parents. Realizing he's about to cause a huge problem, Alan panics and forces the book to disappear before anyone walks in. His parents rush into the room, but when they see nothing unusual, they assume their baby was just making noise in his sleep. Thinking it's nothing serious, they quietly leave, completely unaware that their child just summoned something straight out of a nightmare. As soon as his parents leave, Alan carefully pulls the floating book back out again, like a kid sneaking snacks at midnight. This time, he actually gets a good look at it. Turns out this thing isn't just some creepy magic decoration, it's a grimoire, basically his personal user manual for this new world. Inside are all his stats, skills, and abilities laid out nice and clear. After flipping through it, Alan confirms the obvious. Yep, he really did lock himself into the Summoner class. According to the book, he can call creatures from thin air. Sounds cool, until he reads the fine print. Because he's still a baby, the system has nerfed him hard. For now, he can only summon insects and small animals. Not dragons, not demons, bugs. Still, Alan is thrilled. Hey, everyone has to start somewhere. Too excited to think properly, he immediately tries summoning an insect. Nothing happens. He tries again. Still nothing. Again. Nope. After failing over and over like an idiot, pressing the same button and expecting a different result, Alan finally forces himself to calm down. He goes back to the grimoire and notices another skill he ignored earlier, the create skill. When he activates it, something finally changes. A glowing crafting card for an insect appears in front of him. That's when it clicks. He isn't supposed to summon creatures out of nowhere. He has to create them first, then summon them. Now that he has the card, he prepares to do it properly, but of course, timing hates him. Just as he's about to summon, his mother walks in to check on him. Alan reacts instantly, dropping the act and pretending to sleep like a professional. After she leaves, he realizes his body feels ridiculously heavy. Using skills drains him way more than he expected. His eyelids feel like bricks, and staying awake is clearly not happening. So he gives up, deciding to try again tomorrow, and passes out. The next morning, when no one is paying attention to him, Alan pulls out the grimoire again. This time everything works. The summoning completes, and a giant grasshopper appears out of nowhere and immediately jumps straight onto his face. Alan completely panics for half a second, then remembers he's technically the boss here. He quickly tries giving it commands, telling it to obey him. The grasshopper does not care at all. It ignores him and casually hops away like, yeah, no. Confused and slightly offended, Alan checks the grimoire again. Inside, he finds the grasshopper's stats neatly written down. The book also explains something important. Summoned creatures need to be named before they properly recognize their master. After thinking for a moment, Alan decides to name the grasshopper Dina. It sounds good enough for a bug. When he checks his own stats again, he notices something interesting. Just by summoning Dana, his abilities have actually increased. Before he can enjoy this small victory, disaster strikes. His mother suddenly walks into the room. The moment she sees the grasshopper, she freezes. She is absolutely terrified of insects. Without thinking even for a second, she reacts on pure instinct and crushes Dana instantly. No warning, no mercy. Just like that, Alan's first summon is gone forever. Over the next few days, Alan keeps experimenting with his skills whenever he gets the chance. After a lot of trial and error, he finally manages to summon another creature. This time, it's a small mouse. He names it Mousy because honestly, creativity isn't his strongest stat yet. Sadly, Mousy turns out to be just as dumb as Dina. It barely listens and mostly runs around doing whatever it wants. However, Mousy does have one useful skill called Scurry, which lets it dash around the room at insane speed. While Mousy isn't exactly obedient, it will at least use Scurry whenever Alan tells it to, which is still a small win in his book. Alan spends the rest of the day glued to his grimoire, reading every page again and again. He tries to understand how summoning truly works and what he needs to do to create stronger monsters that will actually follow orders. He thinks about conditions, possible tricks, skill combinations, everything. But no matter how hard he studies, he can't find a clear answer. By the end of it, all he gets is a mild headache and a lot of frustration. Later that afternoon, Alan's father, Rodin, finally comes home. His clothes are stained with blood, making it obvious he just returned from a dangerous hunt. With pride in his voice, Rodin tells Alan that he managed to take down a massive boar. He describes how huge and terrifying it was, clearly enjoying the story, and then asks if Alan wants to go see it. Hearing that, Alan's excitement explodes. This is the first real monster Alan has ever seen in this world, and his excitement shoots through the roof like he just unlocked a rare event. Seeing his son so thrilled, Rodin decides to take him along, since this is also Alan's first proper trip outside the house. After about 10 minutes, they reach the place where the giant boar monster is being cut up. Several villagers are already there, working together like it's a group mission. At first, Alan is amazed as he looks closely at the monster, but the longer he stares, the more his excitement fades. About 10 months later, Alan gets exciting news. He reaches level 2 as a summoner. This allows him to create G-rank creature cards and unlocks a fusion skill that lets him combine his summons. On top of that, his inventory space doubles, meaning more buffs and more potential power. That night, filled with excitement, Alan tries to use his fusion skill, but no matter what he does, it doesn't work. His MP is full, the process is correct, correct, yet nothing happens. He feels frustrated, but realizes he's still too young and not strong enough. By the time Alan turns 3, his growth is obvious. After many failed attempts, he finally succeeds in fusion and creates a bird card. The summoned bird is named Chappie. Chappie has a skill called voice mimicry, allowing it to perfectly copy anything Alan says. Alan immediately sees how useful this could be in battles and traps. Looking at everything he's learned, Alan feels satisfied. This world feels like hardcore gaming at its peak. Later that afternoon, his friend Karina comes over to play. They start sword fighting with wooden sticks, and Alan thinks it'll be easy. But Karina turns out to be much faster, dodging his attacks and hitting back before he can react, leaving him completely caught off guard. Karina doesn't even give him time to breathe. She slips past his attacks like she's dancing, dodges everything he throws, and smacks him back before his brain can even process what's happening. Before he knows it, the fight is over, and he's the loser. By the end of the day, Alan is completely wrecked. Every muscle hurts, his body feels like it got run over, and his pride is in even worse shape. Karina absolutely destroyed him. Still, instead of crying about it, Alan lies there quietly and makes a promise to himself. Next time they fight, he won't lose. No matter what, he'll be stronger by then. That night, the family drops some big news. Deja announces that she's pregnant. The moment Alan hears this, he tells his father that he wants to help with harvesting the potatoes, since his mother won't be able to do as much work anymore. They gently refuse and tell him that a kid his age shouldn't be worrying about work. They say his job is to play, rest, and enjoy being a child. They even encourage him to keep spending time with Karina, since they've noticed how happy he looks whenever the two of them play together at night. On top of that, they mention they're really excited about Alan's upcoming appraisal ceremony. Alan has no idea what that is. A few months pass, and winter arrives. One day, Alan makes a careless mistake and forgets to hide Dana. His mother suddenly spots the insect. When Rodin rushes in, Deja tells him her water has broken. Not long after, Jera and his wife Matilda arrive. By morning, the boys wake up to the sound of a baby crying. They rush over and find that the delivery was successful. Rodin decides to call him Mesh. Deja immediately likes the name, but after a moment, she asks if it came from a monster. Rodin admits that it did. Still, Deja can't deny that it sounds nice. She starts laughing, and soon everyone else joins in. As they laugh together, Alan quietly watches from the side. Alan makes a silent vow. No matter what it takes, he will free his family from the cruel life of being serfs.